let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, and do it, and do it, let's live it up and do it, and do it, and do it, do it, do it, let's do it.
I'm looking forward to our next session because I'm going to have some of my colleagues come up and give you an overview of some of our content. You saw the wall. Content is king. You know, that's not usually what you see at an investment banking conference, but this isn't your usual investment banking conference. So we do believe content is king, and we're a big producer of content and technology. There we go. And so I'm going to ask Amanda Bajkowski to give you the real story behind the Lumascapes.
Good afternoon. I hope everyone's enjoying lunch. So I think you all have heard the saying, behind a good Lumascape, there's always a great woman. So since 2009, I've had the rare privilege and honor of being the cartographer, if you will, of the Lumascapes. And so the first one actually looked a little something like this. And so this is part of a presentation we did back for Adam Bain in 2009. And they've evolved tremendously over time. And one thing I love about them is, to me, they're kind of this living, breathing document. So you could take a look at any one of them, and we've saved thousands of them. And it's a snapshot of what our industry looked like at a point in time. So they've had over 1 million views, and I'm sure some of you are actually sick of them because blogs write about them, the Wall Street Journal writes about them. But what I find most fascinating is that they're used almost on a daily basis in the boardroom for target identification, and they're used by investors in making their most crucial investing decisions. Now, we started a trend that helped to evolve the conversation, and this was our goal from the very beginning. We wanted to bring the dialogue forward, and we think imitation is the highest form of flattery. So whether it's a kitchenscape, whether it's someone making a Lumascape of ad tech in Brazil, or people modeling the European advertising landscape, we really love all the Lumascapes we've seen. But, you know, people have also said that, you know, they've commented that they don't like the Lumascape. And so the IAB had come up with its arena. And so in the middle, they had put brands. And so we really say, where's the consumer? Shouldn't the consumer be at the heart of every single conversation we have in digital media? And they really said this should replace the Lumascape. But we don't think it should be an either or. We really think it should be an and. And we think you agree, because since the IAB came out with their arena, there have been nearly 300,000 views. So in the beginning, we mapped 8 of the different Lumascapes with over 3,000 companies across all of them. Then we mapped the strategic buyers and all the sources of capital. So you could really think of it as supply and demand. The one we think is the most important is the strategic buyer Lumascape, and this is because these are all of the players who we think are going to help consolidate the industry in the coming years. So let's take a quick look at the Lumascapes by the numbers. We think you'll find this fascinating look. Everyone in this room loves data. It's been viewed tens of thousands of times: gaming, strategic buyer, search, video, digital capital, commerce, social, mobile. The newest member of the Lumascape family, marketing technology, was viewed over 150,000 times in the first week alone, which to me is quite staggering and more than any of the other Lumascapes. But the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart, the one that we all have come to know and love, is a display Lumascape. And this one, I think the numbers will be quite impressive. It doesn't even fit on the slide, as you can tell. So that one is the one, you know, that blows them all out of the water. So between all of the Lumascapes and all the presentations we do, it's taken a boutique investment bank's website and really turned it into a media property of its own. We have over 2,000 people a day come to our website to view it. But we really realize that we're very grateful that people come to our website, you download our Lumascapes, you print them out on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. But we're in a mobile world. And so with that, I'd like to welcome my colleague, Jonathan Greenglass.
Thank you, Amanda. Is this mic on? Is the mic on? Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear myself. Thank you, Amanda. I was worried for a minute there Terrence might steal my thunder, but I get to announce the latest project we've been working on along with our friends at Extopoly, to take Lumascapes to the next level. Today, we're introducing the Luma app. Speaking of mobile everywhere, on it, everybody will be able to view all of the Lumascapes in their original form, as well as a bunch of new features and functionalities that we've included to make the app a more dynamic, interactive experience. So we encourage everybody to get out there, download it. It's available on your iPad. Hopefully it'll be a great resource. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
And we actually have a spokesman to give you a little commentary about this app that we're releasing. If we can turn up the volume, please.
To create something that's genuinely new, you have to start again. And I think with great intent, you disconnect
from those other bankers who, let's face it, are for the most part total wankers.
You know, had to do it, right? Had to have some fun with it. Thank you, Jonathan. So, really excited about this. The Luma app, it's now available in iOS for the iPad to start with. We'll see if we can get it to other devices. But in the iPad is where you can view the original, and you get them in high res. And there's interactive features, as Jonathan said. You can, zoom in. You can get information drawn from Crunchbase on every company. All 3,000 companies in the Lumascape is now in your pocket, which is where we always want to be. Usually the wallet in the back, but so all right. The Digital Media Summit, as we said, is a different kind of event, right? All these conferences sell tickets and have A-listers on stage and everybody in a dark room. And we sort of thought, no, let's approach this differently. 5 years ago, when we started DMS, we said, wouldn't it be different if you had all the CEOs of the companies come instead? And rather than have them come 10 minutes before their panel, do their panel, and bolt, as they usually do, maybe they'd stick around. If, in fact, when they arrived, there were peers that represented the entire ecosystem. That was the genesis of DMS. And, of course, it represents sort of, different thinking. Most investment banking investor type conferences involve, presentations, the pitch sequences. And that's fine for public investors, but we thought for an industry where we wanted to really delve into the issues deeply, you had to have a different approach. And so this sort of think different notion is a concept that we believe in a lot, and we take our pay homage to Mr. Jobs and think about the Apple approach to things. Great design, and they thought differently about a business approach. And so it's not just this conference. Look at the content. We have a wall called Content is King because we're big fans of producing content. We think to be a strategic advisor, this has gone AWR again. You have to add value to the ecosystem. And we do that with our content, whether it's presentations or the Lumascapes. And, of course, the app now makes it mobile. And the other theme, of course, you already saw it, is think different and have fun. It turns out, I'm a ham and a bit of a nut, but so I'd have done this anyways. I was just sort of trying to find a way to bring comedy into my day job. But the reality is it's incredibly, incredibly powerful as a business tool. So, rather than sort of inconsistent with our model, rather than sort of, be a shill for a company or to ignore key issues, even challenging issues, in the industry, we're pretty blunt. We're pretty straightforward. And sometimes the truth, being honest, is tough. Look at Mr. Spanfeller. He speaks the truth. Walker Jacobs speaks the truth. Not always the most popular point of view. They don't care. Now, like an investment bank, normally you would think, well, we'd have clients, we have to tread lightly. We don't care. We're trying to be as objectively accurate as possible. And sometimes when you've got a message like that, comedy, humor, is a great tool. Besides, if I have to give a presentation, I need to capture your attention and then your retention. And again, comedy is a great way to do that. So there actually is, and finally, they actually did prove that, like LSD, when you laugh, when you experience comedy, your brain releases dopamine, which opens your capillaries in your sensory glands, and it literally opens your mind. And that's when we come in with the substantive message. So there's actually some science to the comedy stuff. And this whole thinking differently thing, I once said, as you go through life and you have an important decision to make, think about what would an investment banker do, and then do the opposite. And you'd be pretty good. No offense to my friends in the room, but they actually all my bulge bracket investment banking friends who are here would probably agree with that. And so we actually think that in many ways, doing the opposite is in fact the right thing to do.
If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right. Yes, I will do the opposite.
And so, to give more depth to doing the opposite as it relates to how we approach business, my partner in Palo Alto, Brian Anderson.
Thank you. When Terry and I came together, really the founding principles of Luma are really two things. One is to know digital media and marketing better than anybody else. And the second is align our efforts with how strategic buyers proactively buy businesses. So what that means is not running those speculative sell-side processes. So what we do instead is we first of all spend a lot of time with the CEOs of the companies. So a lot of you in this room. Make sure we understand what is your business, what are your products, who you're selling to, what's your differentiation in the market. And then, the Lumascapes really are taking that knowledge and putting them in a way that we can, frame these categories. And then we spend a lot of time with the strategic buyers. We get to know what they're trying to do. We can help them with their strategic M&A plans and target identification. And because we have a wide view across the market, we can really add to their very deep view of their business. And if we do make a matchup of that buyer and a target company, we recognize the buyer's not going to hire us. They have entire teams to execute those transactions. So then we help facilitate the deal by working with the selling company. So this chart up here really represents the top half is the work with the strategic buyers. We do that for free. We're trying to help them identify the right businesses for their business. The bottom half, that's how we make our money. Get engaged by the target company and help facilitate those transactions. So it's a way where, so it's an approach that's been very well received and has had considerable success. In our short time, you've seen this before, we've done a number of transactions. Of these transactions, the majority of them have been done exactly as I talked about. The gaps here are generally financings, which are processes by nature. Also, we had divested the ADS business for Akamai earlier this year. Just by the nature of divestiture, that needs to be a process. And when Akamai gives you a call and says, hey, can you do this for us? They're a good friend of the firm. Of course, we're going to work with them. So, this approach, again, you always hear, it's better to be bought rather than sold. And everybody agrees with that. And our approach is really trying to enable companies being bought where you have true win-win situations where post-transaction the buyer is thrilled with a deal because the asset performs really well within their business. And the seller is thrilled because they get a great valuation for their business. So we feel this approach, what it enables is very targeted advice as far as which buyers should buy the companies, but also beware of the errant misses because you never know what you're going to hit. We were very saddened to see our competitor, Montgomery & Company, fold their investment banking shop a month ago. So something about relentless competition from Luma Partners. So that's my attempt at humor right there. So, all right. So moving on. Also, the Luma Advisory Board. We have a roster of advisors that are really the who's who of the industry. Many of you are in the crowd, and we appreciate everything you do for Luma. But these folks would not lend their names to an investment bank if all we were trying to do was be a transactional shop. They lend their names because they believe in what we're doing and our approach, and we very much, again, appreciate their counsel. So, I don't know if you heard the news. How many Mad Men fans in the room here? All right, quite a few. So, Sterling Cooper is taking on an advisor. So I don't know if you already saw this. Terry's made this fairly widely known, but there was a charity auction earlier this year where you could bid on being on an episode in Mad Men. Terry won that, so he will be filming in the fall and appearing on an episode of Mad Men next season. So if this isn't the craziest promotional stunt you've seen Terry do, then this next one will be.
Mervin's in the back going, he's just lost it. So here's the genesis of this wacky idea. Yes, go ahead, pictures, tweets, yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, all the sponsors of DMS are on this. You'll notice, the biggest sponsors get the best placement. Imagine that. We got our silver sponsors here. We got title, we got platinum, silver, gold, and a little bit of bronze back here. Things do get bronze back there. Anyways, so I'm actually it's February. I'm at the IAB annual leadership meeting, and I forgot to bring a jacket. I left 2 of them on my bed, just didn't pack them. And I get to Scottsdale, and the days are fine, right? They're sunny and they're warm. Night gets really cold, and in this particular February, it got really cold. And I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to wear? And the only thing I had in my bag was a zip-up that had a Simulmedia logo on it. It was my Simulmedia zip-up. So I threw that on and went to the party, not thinking much about it. Well, I walk into the crowd, and 800 people, everyone keeps going, oh my God, you're the logo guy, and you're wearing Simulmedia's logo. That's got to say something. And then Joe Apprendi came up and put a collective button on me. And then the guys from OpenX put an OpenX sweater on me. And all of a sudden, there's logos, and I thought, my God, it's like NASCAR. And that's where the idea came from, ladies and gentlemen. The Luma suit, we're calling it. So, complete with the suit. So, every year we're going to do this. Next year, we'll... sponsoring, you know what? Sponsoring should be pretty easy next year. We're going to hang this, and who knows where I'm going to show up wearing this damn thing. I would do anything. So, and sponsorship has its privileges, as a well-known credit card company has been known to say, as at least a variation of. And we try to do a lot for our sponsors, actually. So we have custom one-on-ones. They bring multiple people. We have a VIP reception. Why, last night, I know you're saying, what VIP reception? Well, if you're not a speaker or sponsor, you probably didn't know about having John Hamm and John Slattery and the whole Mad Men crew up on the rooftop at the Nomad. We had a lot of fun. It was crazy. Yes, that's a 6-foot Lumiscape that we had up on it. So, at any rate, that's just a little something that we do in addition. So, now we are 6 minutes away from the afternoon session. Let me tell you what's going to happen the rest of the day. We've got 2 more breakout panels. I highly encourage you to get in those so they can get started on time, so we can get as much of that full hour of intensive conversation about these issues. So we've got back-to-back 2 more tracks. So look up the schedule, figure out which one you go to and go to it, or stay in network, and then we will see you back here in the PM, and you do not want to miss that. If you think this is crazy, we'll just keep ratcheting it up every time. Thank you.
Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, and do it, and do it. Let's live it up and do it, and do it, and do it.